Hello, it's Dr. Elizabeth Alter. Are you concerned about osteoporosis? Osteoporosis is a very important topic because, as I've told you, if you've been my patient in the practice, it's all about vision, memory, and mobility. That's what keeps us out of a nursing home or rehab facility and keeps our independence. So, osteoporosis is something that is usually addressed when a woman is in her 60s, but it should be addressed much earlier. So, bone loss in a woman begins at about the age of 30. And even though this is more prominent in women, it can also happen in men. So, resistance training, intake of appropriate nutrients, especially vitamin D. I think vitamin D gets often ignored in osteoporosis. It's always about calcium, and calcium is part of the picture, but it's it's a conglomerate of nutrients and weight training and just exercise in general that help. So I'm just going to give you some facts about osteoporosis that I have written here. So one of the things about recently is, everything in health is about balance. So we now do a lot of intermittent fasting. There's a lot of focus on protein, but excess protein can make us acidic. So there's a certain pH that the body should have, and usually you can check that in your saliva or urine with some pH paper. I recently started to do this, and it's very interesting what affects acidity. Um, Sometimes it's what you eat, sometimes it's your mood, things that happen emotionally. So I can talk about that later. But in terms of osteoporosis, the more acidic you are, the more breakdown of bone you're going to have. So if you take in a lot of animal protein, and this is why if you look at a basic plate, right, it's always the protein, the greens, vegetables, and some carb. Um, but the reason why greens have classically been given with meat or animal protein is because the greens are alkalinic, and so it helps balance out the acidity of the animal protein. So that's why I'm always, if you've been to my practice, just incessantly insistent on the handful of greens twice a day and two veggies twice a day, two servings of veggies. So this acidity promotes calcium to move out of the bone. Um, so or yeah, so the main part of your bones is calcium, but it we're a society that we are overwhelmed with calcium and calcium rich products, but yet have the highest amount of osteoporosis. That's a statistic here in America, unfortunately. So, also antacids. So, I have patients that love taking Tums and all these types of antacids, or whether it's prescription antacids, or what they're also known as proton pump inhibitors or PPIs. These are very bad for your bones because they inhibit um, your absorption of your nutrients that you need to maintain your bones healthy. Also, soda. So I'm always after patients. Definitely, diet soda is the worst, but even regular soda can increase your risk of bone loss. And then caffeine, right? So we're all running on Red Bull or whatever the drink that's in vogue to get energy is. And so caffeine, again, in moderation is good, but if you're having several cups a day of of caffeine, you're going to be depleting calcium. So for instance, if you drink 3 cups of coffee a day, you cause a 45 milligram calcium loss. So being aware of that. And then, we just touched upon greens. So if you eat greens too much, you can also shift uh, shift your body to losing bone, and that's because of something called oxal- oxalic acid. So this type of chemical can make calcium absorption less. But again, I always tell patients, everything in moderation. So you're not going to have a bushel of spinach, or you're going to have a handful. So handfuls are not excessive. So also, too many grains can have phytic acid, which is another acid that can encourage bone loss. Um, so, obviously not moving enough, too much alcohol, um, diuretics. Patients, especially here in Florida and Miami, people are always looking for ways to get rid of excess uh, water retention, and they always want diuretics, and I always tell them that encourages not just obviously like it says here bone loss, but also diabetes and high cholesterol. So steroids also can encourage bone loss. It's very common for patients to want um, steroids when they have sinusitis, and I tell them all the time that steroids have their place in medicine, but taking them just to get through something more quickly is not right. And you know, this is one of the reasons also. So there's a lot more to be said, and I try to give you different facts with different videos. So just keep in mind our K2D3 caps, which is very important for your bones. Our CalNex, which I tell patients to only take it about 4 nights a week with dinner, and then the magnesium at bedtime. Magnesium you should take every night, and then also Reginex, which is our collagen. So all those are important. And so I hope this was helpful, and have a healthy day.